In the energy quadrant, you have to talk about that big move we saw in crude oil today, finishing up 4.6%, actually more than 4.6% higher from yesterday's settlement. And the week turned positive. We were actually negative on the week going into trade this morning when things opened up. And we had the largest one-day move higher since November 9th of last year when crude was up 7.41%. On the high side of things today, up 5.84%, 64.86 was the high in the April WTI crude oil contract. On the downside, 60.52. We actually were down 1.24%, almost 1.25% on the lows today. Again, the highest level that we've seen in absolute price since January 8th of 2020. All of the excess movement started after the OPEC decision was released. There was some strength early in the morning. We're up 2.6% through the morning session. But then the OPEC decision came down that they decided to leave production unchanged. Now they're meeting every single month, but really that's the decision, and we don't know what the reality is going to be. When you look back at past OPEC meetings, sometimes they have compliance issues. At the last meeting, they decided to increase production 500,000 barrels a day in the consortium of OPEC and OPEC Plus, and then Saudi Arabia cut by 1 million barrels, but leaving the production unchanged at this point at least implies that they're going to keep the numbers the same and try and get more of a crude oil deficit than we're currently working with, thanks in part to that freeze we had down in Texas. Now, speaking of that freeze, we're left with refinery issues in the oil patch right now. We had the lowest refinery utilization rate in yesterday's EIA inventory report on record. 56 was the percentage of refineries being used. Now, again, most of that had to do, if not all of it, with the freeze in Texas, but also we've entered refinery turnaround. So there could actually be a short-term shortage in refined product. The previous record low was only 67.6%, and we had a 56% number. So that's going to be very critical looking forward for the direction of crude oil price. But again, highest price we've seen in a year. Today was clearly a breakout, making way for higher prices at some point down the road, unless something in the supply and demand fundamentals changes.